you have nothing to prove. Until a lot of people realize that the people who they think they have to prove anything to, they're not paying attention anyway. So the only person that you need to prove anything to is yourself. Don't make it a point, don't make it a habit to feel like you have to do something or do anything to prove anything to anybody. That's just, when you're younger, you can, I can understand that frame of mind. But as you get older and you mature, you realize that the only person that you have anything to prove to is yourself. If you have children, then you can prove things to them. If you have a spouse or a significant other, you can prove things to them. But ultimately, you have to prove it to yourself. Don't worry about proving anything to the world. Don't worry about proving anything to your family, to your friends, to strangers. Most of the time, they're not paying attention anyway. And if you feel like you have to prove something to someone because they don't believe in you, or they want you to fail, they don't think you're capable of accomplishing certain things or doing certain things, then automatically right there, that disqualifies them from even having anything to prove to. And that's real. Now, if someone believes in you, if someone says, hey, I know you can do it, I believe in you, then you can prove it to them. Prove it for the right reasons. If you're going to prove anything to anybody, prove it for the right reasons. Don't try to prove anybody who doubts you wrong. You're wasting time. Like I said, they disqualify themselves from even being worthy of any attempt to prove them wrong. Don't worry about them. Don't worry about them. Focus on you. Focus on the people who believe in you. Focus on the people who know you can do it. Because sometimes those are the ones who give you the extra strength and the extra motivation and inspiration to actually go out there and do things, do big things, do great things, to go out and become someone who they say they know you are. That's who you go out and prove it to. Don't worry about your haters. Don't worry about people who don't know you like that. Even if they know you, they could have grew up with you. They could be lifelong friends or family members or whatever. If they don't believe in you, then they're just not worth proving anything to. When you look in the mirror, that's the person that you need to prove it to. Through all the doubt, through all the fear, the uncertainty, even through the belief and the knowing that you can do this, prove it to yourself. Prove yourself right. That's it. That's it. Because like I said, a lot of people try to prove things to, they're not paying attention most of the time anyway, because they have things that they're trying to do. And if they are that focused on what you're doing, on seeing you not accomplish things, you need to distance yourself from that anyway. The sun doesn't have to prove that it's going to shine each day. All you have to do is make it through the night. You wake up in the morning and voila, the sun is right there on display. So as sure as the sun is going to shine, that's as sure as you need to be. You can do whatever it is that you need to do. You don't have to prove it. You don't have to make it a point to go out of your way to say, hey, I told you so, or look, I did this. Your results will speak for themselves. People will see your results. And if you work in silence, if you work quietly and silence all the noise out, silence the need for approval or to be right, your work will be that much more efficient. So don't worry about proving anything to anybody. You're wasting energy. Not saying you'll fail, but when things don't go as planned, now you are giving those same people ammo. You're giving them fuel. You're proving them right in the sense where if they think you can't do it or if they say you can't do it, now it's not being done. So now they can say, hey, I told you so. Don't worry about that. Keep your plans to yourself. Get up every day. Focus on the mission, not the results. The results will come. The results will always come. All you have to do is put the work in. And while you're putting the work in, don't worry about who's watching. Don't worry about who's paying attention to you. You'll lose focus of what you're doing or why you're doing it. Focus on you. Focus on your happiness, on the goals that you want to accomplish. Don't worry about who is going to applaud you or not. No, because look, even when you do make things happen, they're not going to be happy anyway. They're not going to be happy. And guess what? That moment will come and it will pass. So all that work that you put in, it will only be recognized for a moment because they'll cheer you on to fail forever. But that moment that you actually succeed, it's very short-lived. They'll see it, they'll recognize it. They may not speak on it, they may not congratulate, or of course they won't congratulate, but then they'll forget about it. They'll forget about it. So there's absolutely no point in trying to prove anything to anyone other than yourself. And like I said, the people who believe in you, the people who want to see you succeed. You understand what I'm saying? Like the people who invest in you in any kind of way. Investments don't always mean money. It could be emotional investments. You know, any kind of investment where they believe in you. Those are the people who you have to prove something to. Never try to prove anything to anybody who is not directly tied to your success, who wants to see that success, I should say. If they want to see you fail, they disqualify themselves. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Prove it to yourself. Wake up every day. Wake up every day. Don't worry about anything. Don't worry about proving anything to anybody. You know, because there are a lot of people who, the moment that they make it, the moment they accomplish something, they want to stunt. They want to flex on the people who didn't believe in them. Your success is the biggest flex that you can ever have. You don't have to say it. You don't have to show it. You don't have to prove it. All of that will be done by itself. The people who matter are the ones who you need to be working for, proving things to, because they're the ones who keep you going. Yeah, they say my haters are my motivators, and that can be true, but keep it here. You don't have to speak it. You don't have to go out and just make it a point to let them know, hey, I'm doing this for you. They're not that important because they're not doing anything for you. Nothing they do is because of you, nor is it for you. So keep that same energy when it comes to them. You'll be better off. You'll be better served focusing on you, knowing, hey, I can do this regardless of who doubts me, regardless of who believes in me. I believe in me. I can do this. I know I have what it takes. I'm going to give myself time. I'm going to give myself direction. I'm going to stay focused. I'm going to follow the plan. And when the plan isn't working out, I'll wait for the next plan to come into play. These are the things that your mind needs to focus on, not this person saying you would never be anything, not that person saying, you can't do that. Don't worry about that. Take it in, document it, but don't feed off of it to the point where it drives you and that becomes your sole focus. That's misplaced motivation. It's still motivation, but it's misplaced. I personally don't wake up and nothing that I do, I don't try to prove anything to anybody other than myself, because I, just like you, are your biggest competition. I am my biggest competition. The only person I'm trying to prove anything to is myself. And when I prove it to myself, what I'm doing at the same time is I'm proving it to the people who love me, my parents, my children, my friends who support me, who believe in me, my family who supports me and believes in me. But I still don't wake up and put my feet on the floor and move with anything to prove to anybody other than myself. You see? So I know my success or anything, I don't care how small or how large it is, whatever I accomplish, it's noticed, it's seen. I don't have to say it. I don't have to brag about it. When it comes, and then when it goes, it goes. I don't feel like I have anything to prove to anybody, and we're not all in that space in our lives yet. I understand that. Some people are still in a place where they have to do it. Okay, that's okay. Because eventually you will get to a point in your life that you feel with that where you know you don't have anything to prove to anybody. I used to feel like I had things to prove. Oh, he can't do this and he can't. Okay, yeah, but I was younger then. So all I'm trying to do is give that same, I'm trying to give what I've learned and tell you that it works to your benefit to not feel like you have anything to prove. Always prove it to yourself. Because when you spend so much time trying to prove things to other people, you end up doing some of the things that you wouldn't normally do. It's not for their approval. It's not for anything. It's not for anything. And that's the bottom line. It's all for nothing. Focus on you. Focus on your strengths. Work on your weaknesses. Know what you can do. Know what you can't do. Know what you should do. Know what you shouldn't do. But only for you. Not for anybody else. Not for anybody else. Because you will lose yourself trying to prove things to people who don't even matter. Who don't even matter. They're not qualified to even be in your circle, in your life, especially not close enough to prove anything to. If they're invested in you emotionally or, financially or whatever, that's a whole different ball game. You have to prove something. But always remember that you have to prove it to yourself first. Don't go out here and try to, show the world, hey, I can do this, because the world doesn't care. Especially if the world isn't benefiting from that. The people who are doubting you, they're not paying attention anyway. And if they're paying that much attention, people who are doubting you, they're not paying attention anyway. And if they're paying that much attention, it's not that deep. It's not that deep. So never try to prove anything to anybody other than yourself. Wake up every day focused on you, focused on your mission, on your goals, and let everything else fall into place. Peace.